Okay, so we're looking at the slides for Canva Basics. And like I said, this is, a free program that you can use. And we're going to look at just like a short introductory video that explains Canva. So let me know if you can hear this.
Welcome to Canva. Here's how to create and share inspiring designs. On the left, you'll find everything you can add to your design. Choose from thousands of templates or start from scratch. To begin, just drag and drop a template to your page. The Elements tab has graphics, photos, videos, charts, and more. Upload photos or videos like this. Everything is customizable. Select the object you want to change, and a toolbar will appear above. Let's start with color. Select any element, then click the color tile. Choose any color you like, or pick a color from the design. Double-click to edit text. Then use the toolbar to change size, alignment, or spacing. Find the perfect font here. Let's add some animation magic. Click the page, open the Animate tab, and select your style. On the right, you can download, share to social media, and order professional prints. Sign up to save your design, collaborate with teammates, and so much more. Now it's your turn.
So if you've never used Canva before, that kind of gives you an idea of what it's like. It's a little interface where you can work with existing templates, but you have a lot of room for creativity to adjust templates and to turn them into the things that you want them to be. So I'll just show you for inspiration a few examples of what your fellow members in the UAW, many of whom are Luca communicators, have created. So this is an example from Stephen Hinoyosa in Local 12 in Toledo, Ohio. And he shared with me these 4 posters that he created for his local, for the education committee, which he's part of, and also to support some of the other activities, the recreational activities, the holidays, etc., that they celebrate at his local. So what you can see here is, he's probably used some existing templates for these flyers, but then adapted them, right? So it saves a lot of time because he doesn't have to cut out a football or illustrate these people from scratch or something like that. It's using existing elements and just organizing in the way that, makes sense for you. So that's one example. Another example is from a local in New York called ALAA 2325, the Association of Legal Aid Attorneys. And they're the recording secretary decided to create a newspaper that's called the ALAA Organizer. And so he puts out this newspaper that updates members about things that are going on in the local. It's a big local with a lot of different units in it. So they learn about what all the different units are up to. They learn about, things that are happening outside of the local. And he also creates these Instagram posts, you can see them on the right, that support the printed newspapers. They have a printed version of the newspaper. They have a sort of social media version of the newspaper. They have an online version on their website, and they have a newsletter version. So people receive this newsletter in lots of different ways and fun ways. I really love the printed kind of old school newspaper. Another example, this is from a unit called A Better NILAG in the same local. These were designed by Pooja Paul, and these are a series of Instagram posts, and you can see how she created like a system of 4 colors that repeat, to make it easy to sort of work with the same template over and over, but also have variety, and be able to update people on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., about what's happening in the unit, what's happening in the local, what's the latest bargaining update, and things like that. So it speaks to both the folks who are members of the local, but also speaks out to the public and encourages them to support the members when they're on strike, etc. This one I really love is it's a coloring book that a member designed for kids, and she designed it so that kids at a UAW picnic would be able to kind of color in the pictures and learn about the values of the UAW, and and have fun. So I believe it was created for the education committee. Yeah. And I don't know if you all are familiar with this format, which is called the zine format, that you fold it into 8 pieces and you cut this center bit where she has the dots. So basically, if you print this out, you can fold it up into a really cute little coloring book. And so what I believe she did here is she did some of the illustrations maybe by hand or in another program, but then she brought it all together in Canva and and organized it and did the type and brought in the logo, et cetera, et cetera. So Canva can be a really great program also for bringing together materials from lots of different sources. And then this video we're going to see in a moment is a video that Linda Jackson created, who's here on the call too. And I'm really excited to show this to you because Linda created it all in Canva, and it's a great political explainer video. But I also want you to notice, once we watch it, aside from the content of the video where they're talking about sort of what would happen if Harris gets elected versus what would happen if Trump gets elected, I want you to notice, and I'll ask you later, what are all of the components of this video? So what are the pieces that you think Linda put together into this video? So let's watch it, and then I want to hear what you think.
There has been a lot of talks about Kamala and Trump, but let's talk about labor and how the policies affect us.
Project 2025 is a 900-page mandate which seeks to change our way of life. As a union member, we depend on our contracts that are negotiated with our employers to keep us safe, to give us great wages and benefits that we take care of ourselves and our families with.
Did you know Project 2025 wants to eliminate overtime? The working class depends on overtime to save money, to make large purchases.
Project 2025 seeks to give protections to the employers, but not the employees. So who's going to protect us?
Did you know that Project 2025 intends to weaken the DOL, which is the Department of Labor, the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, also OSHA, which is Occupational Health and Safety Act. As a union member, we depend on these agencies to protect us from discrimination, unfair labor practices, and to keep us safe so that we return home the same way that we left.
So I would love to hear from you all, and maybe I'll stop sharing so I can. Oops.
There has been a lot of talks about Kamala and Trump,
but I'm curious to hear what you saw. What you saw was included in that video. Like what elements were there in the video?
Hi, this is Pam.
Yeah, Pam.
Hi, I saw she had a video running in the background. She
That's
slid
right.
text, she slid text in there with bullet points and other images. So
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. So there was the video in the background that looked like maybe it was shot in a plant or something like that, right? And then there was the video of the members in front, and then there were like pictures, and there was text with bullet points. And anything else that anybody noticed that was there in the video?
different voices
Yeah, different voices. So we
and
heard the
music.
voice. Yeah, and music, exactly. So we heard the soundtrack of Linda and her friends speaking, the four different speakers, and then we also heard music. So it's actually a really complex piece of work that Linda put together, right? That
Yeah.
has, you know, video stills, video laid on top of video, text, images. We had voiceover, we had music. Um, so I was really impressed when I saw this piece. And I wonder, Linda, if you want to say anything about like how long it took you to create this in Canva, or anything you want to say about what inspired you to make it.
So what inspired me was I recently went to Region 1 Summer Leadership, and our director had a roundtable with leadership about why we think our members aren't voting or trying to get our message across. And so it was brought up to maybe take the candidates out of the conversation and let's just talk about some of these policies and how they're going to affect us as the working class. And it's not just about auto workers, although I did use a video of my plant. So that was a Jeep Grand Cherokee being built in the background, but it's for anybody who's working for anybody in the country. And so I took the time to just kind of read a little bit of the labor portion of Project 2025, because we know people are not reading every single solitary thing. So I took out some things that I thought would kind of ring a bell with people, like OSHA and EEOC, Department of Labor. These are things that we kind of hear a lot dealing with the grievance procedure. And so in creating this video, I used the media room that we have at Region 1. So it has like the green screen in the background, which kind of just makes it easier when you want to remove the background because everybody has these different colors on and whatnot. It took me, I want to say it took me about an hour to film all of us together at different points. And I did use an external mic. I found one really cheap on TikTok. It was like $6, and it had two different mics to it, and it made the sound quality really great. People don't think about that type of stuff until you hear someone with a mic versus without a mic, because it takes away like the air conditioner or the heat or the fan that could be blowing in the background. And so I kind of just chopped it up and found the best parts of those videos. I think the editing portion took me way longer than it did to shoot the video, in fact. But kind of putting it together and just really feeling the flow, like something that I would like to see, instead of just putting everything together. Because even my part, I split it up into two because I felt like when I start talking about the protections, it kind of flowed better when the other young ladies start talking about the different agencies of protections. So just kind of finding the flow and what worked well with everybody. And then I even had to do an editing. I had to do a voiceover for the last young lady. She said everything correctly, but I found that because I wrote out a script for everyone because they're like, I don't know what to say. And, it's kind of hard to get people to talk on the spot. So I wrote a little script and I said, eliminate, and it should have been weakened. So I had to I found her another day and had her re-record it, and I had to actually piece that voiceover so that it matched her mouth as she was talking in the video. So that was probably the most tedious part about the video. But this was actually my first time working with Canva to create this video, believe it or not. So Canva is actually a really good tool, even beginner user friendly.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a really, in my opinion, very sophisticated video in its messaging, and we pinned it on our Instagram. So if you follow the UAW Instagram and you want to watch it again, it's there. And I think it's really smart the way you talked about the messaging, Linda, and how you were talking less about the candidates and more, less about the personalities and more about the policies. It was really, really well done, and I think it's had a lot of influence. So it's great to see this kind of range of things that you can do in Canva, from the simple posters that I showed you at the beginning to like this very, very sophisticated and complex video that Linda created, with green screen and professional mics, et cetera, et cetera. So the cool thing about Canva is you can really You can start with nothing and with the free version, and you can get really sophisticated and complicated. So it's it works for all levels of experience and all kinds of things that you want to do. And it's very fast in the sense that it allows you to use these pre-made elements that make your life a little bit faster than if you were having to create everything from scratch. So I'm just going to pull up my slides again. Yeah, great job, Linda. It's really, really, really well done. I wanted to just talk about some of the features that that Canva has that are sort of new-ish, and these features are available in Canva Pro. So this is the version I was talking about that's paid. So these are things that are like extra nice to have, but you don't necessarily need to have them. But these are features that use a little bit of AI. So there's a translation feature. So let's say that you know, are organizing a new unit, and the unit has like speakers of 10 different languages, and you've created some kind of flyer or something like that. You can use the translate feature in Canva to basically translate your material into 100 different languages. Not that you would use 100 different languages, but it helps you basically, once you have the basic design, to then very, very quickly, convert it into these different versions in different languages. The other feature that's useful here is Brand Kit. So Brand Kit is a way to kind of collect all the elements that that you use regularly. So for example, for me, when I work on UAW stuff, I always, I always use the same colors, right? So I have this like dark blue, and then the turquoise, and then the yellow, and then there's another blue. So in the brand kit, you can kind of collect all those things that you use most often, and you have them handy in one place. And that's very helpful. If you have logos or if you have certain fonts, you can have it all together in one place so that you can create these very consistent visuals. And then there's a feature called Magic Write, which helps you write. So if you feel like you're not a writer, or you don't, sometimes you're stuck and you don't know what to write, you can tell it like, hey, write me a flyer about the Labor Day parade or something like that. And it will write you some copy like Chat GPT. And I find, because I myself am not a writer, that sometimes if I use a tool like that, it helps me get started. It gives me kind of a first draft, and then I can adjust it and and change it, etc. So I'm not saying like use it to write things from scratch and just use what it says, but I think it's helpful as a way to start and think about what you want to write or what you don't want to write. And then the last feature that I think is very helpful for designers is called Magic Switch. And what Magic Switch does is, let's say that you've designed like a really complex and beautiful flyer, but then you want to convert that flyer, which is on an 8.5 by 11 page, you want to convert it to an Instagram square. So it's going to have to change proportion. Maybe you're going to want to take away some of the elements. So Magic Switch does that for you automatically. So you can tell it like, instead of a flyer, I want an Instagram square or whatever it is that you want, and then it'll do that for you. So for example, here's an example of a recent flyer and Instagram post that we worked on, and you can see, the flyer is much more detailed because it's going to be like handed out or printed and put on a wall or something like that. So people have more time to like take in more information versus an Instagram post, which it's something that you're like scrolling really quickly in the feed. So you want the information to be really brief, so it catches people's eye. So a lot less information on that. So you can use Magic Switch to help you make that transition, as opposed to having to start from scratch on everything that you make. And then the other thing that's really great with Canva is there's a whole website called Canva Design School, which you can see here, canva.com Design School, and I'll send you all the links at the end. But basically it has a bunch of videos like the one we saw before, which give like very clear instructions and demos on how to do different things on Canva. So for example, this video here is about how to take templates and customize them, which we'll try out ourselves in a moment. And so you can look on the Canva website. Let me see if I have it handy here, I think. 1 second. So you can look on the website and you'll see, all these tutorials on different things. There are tutorials on how to get started, on some of the new features, on how to present, how to design, et cetera, et cetera. And in each one of these categories, as you go in, there's tons of very short and clear little videos about different features. So very easy to find the thing you want to do and just focus on that thing. And then I just, before we go into like a little demo that we'll do together, I just wanted to mention some best practices for designing communications for members. So it's important to make anything that you're making really easy for people to understand and take in. So what really helps is fonts that are bold and easy to read, high contrast colors so that people can see what you've created, even if they have any vision issues or anything like that. And then keeping the design really clean and simple so it's not distracting and you can just focus on the main point. And of course, because it's UAW work, we want to focus on the members because the members are the highest authority in our union. The members are, the stars of the show. And so everything we do, we want to focus on the members. So with that in mind, I wanted to take like, 5-10 minutes to make something together if you all would like to in Canva, just so folks can see what it's like. So here is Canva. And I was thinking that together we could design a Instagram square or a social media square, which we could later use on social media to celebrate Veterans Day, because we have a lot of members who are veterans. I myself am also a veteran. Many members were veterans, right? And so we want to celebrate the veterans on Veterans Day and celebrate them for their service. So I'm going to take us through some steps, and I'm going to just ask you to shout out your suggestions or choices or color choices or preferences. So let's say I want to start by, I know I want to design an Instagram square. So you can see up here at the top that there are different things I can choose from. Because I often design Instagram squares, this is already here. So I'm going to click it and it opens up a little canvas for me, showing, a blank page. And there's a little search bar here. Now you can see, because I was preparing for this presentation, there's already a lot of Veterans Day stuff here because it shows me what I was searching for. But let's say that that's not there. I could type in Veterans Day and it'll show me what it has, like what the program has, what templates it has, what elements it has, what I can use to start to make something. So if you see here on the left, here are some different graphics that are already pre-designed in a square for Veterans Day. So I'm curious if there's one here that people like that we could sort of use, but then modify and make it more UAW oriented. Is there anything that you see here that you feel like would be good for celebrating Veterans Day for UAW members? And feel free to just speak up because I can't see you if you raise your hand or write something in the chat. Any preferences? It's a little slow to load. What do you think about using?
I want to see the one with the video where the flag is moving.
The one with the video and the flag.
Right,
moving.
is that right there?
Okay.
Yeah, got a little video in there.
Which is it?
Go up, right there, right there.
This
right
one?
there. Yes.
Okay, let's use that.
Flag
So
with
here
video.
so we have a little video here. So this is an interesting one, right? Because there's a video on the right side And then on the left side, we have just text and some, you know, graphic elements like the stars and the colors. So this is nice. This is a you know, kind of a complex composition, but it's already pre-made for us. So what do you think we need to do here to make it more UAW oriented?
Put a
What should we
wheel.
put a wheel? Yeah. So maybe in this area where it said honoring all who served, maybe we could put a wheel here. So if I click on uploads, I can see like images and stuff that I've uploaded before. So I have like a bunch of stuff here and it's kind of a mess. But if I go to brand, these are the most kind of you know, branded elements that I use. So I have here the wheel that is specific to the Veterans Department and the Veterans Committee. And I also have a bunch of other wheels. So which one would you prefer, like a white wheel or the Veterans wheel?
The veterans wheel.
Veterans wheel. Okay, so we have the Veterans wheel. Now look at this problem we have here. It has this white background, right? So the nice thing in Canva Pro is you can use background remover and the background's gone. So something like that might take me like 5-10 minutes in Photoshop. You saw it took me like 2 seconds in Canva. So I'm gonna bring this, whoops, I'm gonna bring this down in size a little bit so that it maybe fits nicely into this area. And you can see as I'm moving things around, it shows me these little purple guides so I can line stuff up. So I want it to line up kind of in the center of this section here. So I did that. Now, the Veterans Wheel brings in this sort of like yellow and blue color combination that is a sort of branded UAW color. So what do you all think about changing some of the colors here to match that? Any thoughts about what we should do here? I'm thinking maybe we should change the type to the UAW yellow. So if I click here on the text, I can choose yellow. And so that maybe matches that wheel better. We still have this kind of cream color that feels maybe a little bit out of place. So I could switch it also to maybe the yellow or the turquoise. Let's see what looks nice to us. Feel free to tell me what you think looks best. Maybe we also want to say to all UAW veterans, right? Because this is a graphic for UAW, so we can add that. Can maybe make this a little bit smaller so it fits. And then maybe we don't actually need this whole thing. Maybe we could make the stars like yellow or turquoise or something like that so that they match what we're doing better.
How about white stars?
You want to do white stars? Okay, let's do that.
That would
So,
pop off the blue background.
yeah, let's do it. We can do, so here I can change the color to white. Is that white or is that cream? Please tell me if am not seeing the color properly. That's white, yeah. So we have some white stars. Any other thoughts about what you think we should do here? Maybe it's finished. We could add music, I suppose, because it has that movement with the moving flag. So it could be nice to maybe add some music. Let's see. So right now this thing is like 5 seconds long. Maybe we want to make it a little bit longer. So when I look under elements, if you look over here, you can see that I have like graphics, stickers, video, and I also have audio. So I can maybe find some audio that seems like it would be nice for Veterans Day. And then add it underneath. And so if I play it, can you all hear the music? Were you able to hear that? Somebody say yes or no. I hope you heard it. You heard it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I just am never sure if I'm the only one hearing it. So then, you can see like maybe you want to make this piece longer, like maybe you want to make it 20 seconds long so we can hear more of the music, so you can play with that. So that's one way that you could, work with this and customize it. I wanted to show you another way, another quick thing, which is, let's say that I have an image, like I have an image of UAW members, and I want to take that image and maybe turn it into a branded sort of Veterans Day piece. So I'm going to start again from the beginning. So I'm just going back to home. I'm going to make an Instagram square again. And this time in my uploads, I have some pictures of folks at the Veterans Conference in Black Lake. So I have this picture, kind of cute. We have Sean Fain in the background. We have like folks, I think from region 9 and 9A, maybe other regions, I'm not sure. And so I already have this picture. And what I can do is simply search for elements to put on top of it. So again, if I search for elements like something that says Veterans Day on it, I can see like, oh, here are all these existing graphics that say Veterans Day, Happy Veterans Day, things like that. Is there one here that people like that you would like to see as part of this post? You could maybe use this one. Right, so there's this already existing graphic, which I can place on top and maybe change the colors to be a little bit more vibrant. And then, so you see up here, these are the existing colors, and I'm just clicking to change them to sort of more UAW type of colors. And then again, I could bring in the UAW wheel, which I'm bringing in from my brand section here. And maybe I'll do a white one so it stands out and just make it a little bit smaller. So really quick, with something like this where I have, I have a photo, I have these pre-existing elements in Canva, and I have the UAW wheel. I can make something really fast, and it's ready to go out. It could go on social media, it could go in a newsletter. I can use it lots of different ways. I could print it out, et cetera, et cetera. So what's cool about Canva, and I'll just stop sharing for a moment so I can see you better, is that you can really do stuff very quickly. And you don't have to be, a graphic designer. You don't have to have like fancy tools, but the tools and the elements are all prepared in there for you. So I'll pause here and see if folks have questions. And I'm just dropping also all the links into the chat, which includes a link to these presentation slides as well. So I see Angie is asking, are all the audio clips on there free use? I believe so. Yeah. So I believe that everything that's in there is fine for you to use. I think I don't know if you noticed, but there are some elements that have a little crown next to them. and the crown means that it's part of Canva Pro. So it means that only if you're paying for the Pro version, you can use it. And some of the video and the audio and the more complex animations or things like that are part of the Pro. So, you know, by paying for Pro, you're basically paying for the licensing of those elements. Anybody else? Questions or comments or tips for your fellow Luca members? Thoughts, suggestions?
Let me just throw this in there. As far as the one good thing about Canva is there are so many tutorials available on YouTube so that even with the free version, you can create so much, but there's always a tutorial there for any issues that you may have. So it's definitely it's a user-friendly program. And it's just like any other program that you use as far as to create anything. You know, you practice, you have fun with it, you try different things, and that's the best way to learn it is by actually doing it. And it's really user friendly in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I'll just say that, you know, even as someone who has been a graphic designer for 20 years, I Google things all the time. Like before I got on this presentation, I Googled how to find stickers in Canva or something like that, you know. So it's very, very easy to find on the internet, like Roy said, on YouTube, on their design school website, and just through Google searches. So you know, there's no you shouldn't feel intimidated by it, let's say. Yeah, exactly. Sarah says she learned Photoshop through Google. Exactly. Any other thoughts or tips or questions?
I was just going to say that although this was my first time using Canva for the video, I actually just did a newsletter where I purchased a template through the Creative Marketplace, which I thought was really awesome. They had so many different things to choose from as far as layouts, what type of layout you actually wanted for your newsletter, which I chose like a magazine type. And it was so easy to just plug and play the things that I wanted in there and using the different fonts and whatnot. So I think it turned out really great. I got a lot of compliments on it. And again, that was like my first time using it for anything of that magnitude. So if anybody is looking to get a newsletter off of their local, this would be a great place to start.
Cool. Thank you for the tip. And Karina, you're saying you're asking a sort of a clarifying question about the music. Would you like to just speak your question and clarify it?
It's Angie earlier asked, are all the audio clips on there free use, as in for copyright purposes? That's all, while you were picking out the music. And it just wasn't noticed because the screen share was up, so I was repeating the question.
Oh, okay. I thought I answered it, but let me answer it again. I believe that a lot of the music that is, you know, that comes with the free version is obviously free to use copyright wise. But then there is some music that has the little crown next to it, and it's part of the Canva Pro version that you pay for. And so by paying for the Pro version, you basically pay for the right to use that music. Does
Got it.
that
Sorry, I
answer your
missed that
question?
part.
No worries. That's okay. But it's a really good question. It's an important question because we don't want to use things without copyright, right? We don't want to use things that we don't have permission to use because we could get sued, but also just because, you know, that's the labor of other workers. So we want to make sure that workers are getting paid for their work. LaShawn, Director English.
Hey, but I guess you know I have the pro account and I have used it, but when I switched it to Facebook, it has took it down. Even though it was approved for Canva, like for Facebook though, it didn't allow us to didn't play on Facebook. So even though it was a pro and we paid for it, it wouldn't let me use it on Facebook sometimes. So sometimes I cross in between the different social medias. It will copyright and take it down. Just, I mean, it'll leave the video, but not the music.
That's true. I've had that problem too. Yes. Lately, like TikTok, for example, is much more difficult about certain music, and sometimes it just mutes your video and doesn't allow you to use the same audio that you've used, let's say, on Instagram. And you're right that recently, like Meta, which is, you know, Facebook and Instagram, has also started to do stuff like that. So I'm going to research more about that and get back to you on why that is and what the best practices around that. But you're right that that is a problem.
Hey, Tamar, just real quick and
Yes.
to touch base on what she was just saying. I know in the past when I've posted Canva videos with the music, Facebook would send a, hey, you know, we're removing this, and then they'd give me, you know, they'd let you explain how you got the music. And I'd say it came with my paid subscription to Canva and it was restored. So I don't know if, you know, when it's getting removed, if usually Facebook sends you like a nasty gram that says, hey, you know, this video was taken down or this video's music was removed because it, you know, it belongs to such and such. And it gives you a way to reply or at least answer that, hey, it was part of a paid subscription for a music service Canva that, you know, that I have. So, you know, that could be an option too, depending on what Facebook is sending you as a message.
Definitely, definitely. And I think there's some of that, and there's also cases where they just mute you.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out what the problem is. Or sometimes you get a message and it says like that the sound will work in the United States, but it's not licensed for other places in the world. So there's a lot of different issues going on, and I can try to research more about why all of that is happening and get back to you all if I can find the answer. Um, Other questions or problems, thoughts, tips for each other's suggestions? Well, if not, I wanna thank you all for being here, and I really appreciate all of you. I see many of you because I'm one of the social media managers. I see a lot of you online. John, I see your constant comments on Instagram, which are highly appreciated. Linda, I see you on Instagram all the time and appreciate you. Many of you, I see you all the time on these channels, and I feel like I know you and I appreciate your contribution so much.